I tried to break up with my GF multiple times but she won't let me do it. Me and my GF have been together with each other for more than 1 year and it's my first time in a relationship but nor hers. I really liked and loved her and enjoyed most of the time we spent together, which wasn't much as we have live a 3-hour train trip apart. 2 months or so ago we decided to break up as things were not going well for neither of us, but after basically 1 week we started calling each other again and in one call we started arguing because she wanted to get back together while I didn't. After 2 hours at the phone she convinced me to get back together, even though I wasn't very convinced, and she came 2 weeks at my place in vacation. The vacation went kind of well seeing each other but we still had some bad arguments that preoccupied me. Things went drastically downhill as she left my house and after a few days a very bad argument started and I tried to let her understand that I wanted to stop trying to work out the relationship but again I got convinced because the words she told me were very sweet and seemed sincere. 3 days later and another big argument started and that time I tried to make it as clear as possible that I wanted to break up but she said that without me she would suffer too much and that she couldn't handle it as she would prefer to argue all the time with me and suffer with me rather than do it without me because it would be worse. After she told me all this I basically felt cornered and also felt really bad for her as I didn't want her to suffer so we tried it out again. This last call happened like 5 days ago and today it's 3 days that we are arguing without time to breathe and I can't push myself to leave her again as I promised I would give us time to improve, but I really don't see how this is possible as we are clearly only hurting each other the last 2 months. I know I've been dumb and maybe did her wrong to not stand my position of not wanting her anymore even though it was what I wanted but now I really don't know what to do as I feel that staying would hurt both of us but leaving her would really hurt her and make me feel really bad. What can I actually do to try to make things okay for the both of us? Comment. Part of being mature and responsible enough to start a relationship is being steadfast enough in your own interests to end it when that time comes. Breakups are rarely mutual and in almost all cases one party ends it over the objections of the other. In most scenarios there is no way to end a relationship without hurting the other person's feelings. But ultimately, lingering like this out of pity for her isn't serving either of you well. You need to grow a spine and just do this and make it stick, if that's truly what you want. You can't make her be okay with the breakup. What you can do is stop letting that stop you from breaking up, since only one of you needs to decide the relationship is over for it to be over. Tell her you're done, cut contact, and ask her family or friends or even the authorities to intervene if she refuses to leave you alone, but don't keep trying to talk this out if there's genuinely nothing she can do to change your mind or fix things. You don't try to break up with someone. If they're still trying to contact you after you made it clear that you want to end things and they aren't taking no as an answer, call the cops and say they're stalking you. The longer you let this go on, the more it seems like you enjoy entertaining this type of behavior. She can't stop you breaking up. Block her NOS, unfriend her on social media, move your social media status to SIGLE. Don't make dates for anything. Don't let her control your life. Walk away and have the life you want. You are too young for this melodrama. It sounds like gaslighting and being manipulated. Yes, breakups are hard, but for your mental health I would break up and block her on everything. Drama like this will just drag you down. You need to put yourself first. Also, I think you need therapy to help you through this. Next story 2. My boyfriend's anger issue is making me fall out of love. How do I bring this up when he doesn't believe in therapy? I have been dating my boyfriend for around half a year now. When I met him, it was just this huge spark between us. We never stopped having the most fun around each other and he never got even a little boring to me. I love him so much and I love most of his characteristics, but there's a thing that's just honestly kinda ruining him for me. The thing is that he's generally considered a kind and well-mannered guy, if sometimes a little too bold. But I slowly came to find out he had this huge anger inside of him. It's like he secretly hated everything about his life. As I kept dating him, it became obvious that he was constantly furious with everything around him. He kept talking about how he hated our country, hated his family, hated his friends. It got to a point where he said he was gonna just stop living if he couldn't immigrate to a better country by the end of the summer. He kept telling me he was getting worse. He kept and keeps canceling plans last minute cause I just suddenly don't want to anymore. At first I thought he had fits of rage or depressive episodes, but as he got more comfortable around me he started being so mean to everyone all the damn time. He's never ever mean to me, but he's still so terrible to everyone else. He cussed out his friend's dad, he yelled at his own father in the street in front of total strangers, and he's just so cruel to his brother too. Like when he's with his family he's constantly at war with them over things he actively chooses to get angry over. He keeps trying to force his brother to run his errands and will yell at him if he says no. One little thing goes wrong and the day is over, like the other day his car broke down and a guy who was bringing us booze called to ask where we were, and instead of just giving me the phone he yelled at the guy and flipped him off, so when his car was fixed the plan was already off so we all just went home. I could have prevented this, but I feel like he didn't want to hang out anyways at that point. Like, one small thing and you know he's gonna kill the entire day. He keeps telling me he has almost no energy to put into this relationship. Like whenever he cancels he gets mad if I complain about it, and tells me it's not his problem that I don't have anybody else and that he's just too burnt out right now. I suggested therapy over and over again. I took my own therapy and suggested to take him along. I even tried to forcefully convince him to go. All he says is that psychology is a hoax. Honestly, I'm so sick of him hating his family and his life. I love his family, and I'm honestly happy with the life that I have with him. It breaks me how insignificant it is to him, how I love him more than any man I've loved before and it's not nearly enough to fix him even a little bit. It breaks me when he says it'll only get worse if he has to live here with these people. I am these people. It breaks me when he just throws away his friends like trash, dropping them off in the middle of nowhere at 2 a.m. instead of taking them home cause he's pissed, because I feel like that's what will end up being done to me one day soon. Comment. You are really sweet for trying to change him, but ultimately if he doesn't want to change it's where he'll remain. It will taint everything you do together, and may get worse. It could be very treatable with drugs for example, like perhaps a case of bipolar or something hormonal, but if he isn't willing to change it's probably best to move on rather than let him bring you down too. You need to be very direct with him and say how it makes you feel. If he responds well to the criticism you know he really cares. You can't. He doesn't see his behavior as an issue and you staying is only going to make him double down on that. You need to start worrying about yourself and your PWN safety because he can't be trusted to. Next story 3. I broke up with GF but I'm regretting it. What should I do? So I and my GF have been dating for 4 years. This summer I went to another city because of a school exchange and we thought that the LDR would be okay because it was only 2 months. So in the exchange we had a lot of problems. We agreed that we would talk most days because that is what we were used to when we were in the same city, but she is insecure, so if for example I went with my friends to the city center and I tried to talk with her like in the bus or when we were only walking, she said that she doesn't wanna, that I should not worry, but other days she would tell me why I didn't spend more time with her. In the exchange I was working from 9 to 7. When I got into my room I was destroyed, but I tried to talk to her. Some days I would be okay but most days I couldn't talk long because of tiredness. I'm going to admit that she wasn't my priority. I was enjoying the experience and meeting new people. All of that devolved into her not feeling loved anymore, and I was so frustrated because whenever I tried to spend time she would reject me and I felt so useless because I couldn't get her to feel loved again. At some point she told me we should only be friends and that hit like a truck. The next day she apologized but the damage was done. I started to feel so sentimentally distant I stopped trying and she was even more hurt. The problem was that in that time I started to develop romantic feelings for another girl. I didn't really try to do something, but I didn't think in my GF like I didn't had one. The exchange ended but I was feeling so regretful because I went into the exchange. I regret going out, and feeling so guilty because of the feelings of how made her feel. When we saw each other we decided we would talk about all of the problems, and we did. We decided that we would act like normal for 2 weeks and see how the things develop. I felt so guilty during those weeks, and I really didn't feel like I could be in a relationship without harming my GF. I don't feel compromised because of what happened. So I broke up with her. She was so hurted, and now I feel so much regret. Maybe we could have talked it through or only have a break. I don't know what to do. I need honest opinions. What should I do? I didn't really told her about my feelings for the other girl. I thought that was unnecessary suffering, and I don't have contact with her anymore and don't plan to. Comment. You left town and had an affair and now you're back and want your GF back, is what I'm reading. You passed a boundary by not keeping your emotional commitment to your girlfriend. I'd leave her alone. I see your regret, but it seems selfish, right? Not about her hurt, while you're gone and she feels something lagging and you say no, and yet she feels it. I don't think you've been on the other side of this, but I hope you're not. It's pretty devastating as it amounts to lying, because you're out of town. Maybe just date for a couple of years before making a commitment. It seems you're really not interested in any depth right now, and that's okay, just don't promise it. See what I mean? Why on earth would you make sure to give her more pain and leave again? It's not her job to make you feel better about bad decisions you made. It's your job to grow yourself up. The idea that you want to tell her horrible hurtful stuff so you feel better is disgusting.